for joining our Circular Economy and Waste Specialist module. This course is part of the Green Economy Learning Series presented by GreenCape and supported by the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom. In this course, we will focus on 4 modules, the first of which gives us an introduction to the problem at hand and reminding us that resources are finite. The second module will focus more on circular economy, the third on secondary materials economy, previously called waste, and finally, how we can take all the learnings forward. As we learned in the generalist module, a green economy is not a single sector on its own, but rather a wide-reaching socio-economic framework that prioritizes inclusivity. If you have not gone through the generalist module, we encourage you to do so before continuing with this module. A green economy addresses the pressing needs for both economic development and climate resilience. A green economy understands how economic, social, and environmental sustainability are mutually dependent and critical building blocks for green, inclusive transformation, growth, and resilience. GreenCape is a not-for-profit organization that drives the widespread adoption of economically viable green economy solutions from South Africa. We work with businesses, investors, academia, and government to unlock the investment and employment potential of green technologies and services, and to support a transition to a resilient green economy. GreenCape was established in 2010 to support the development of the green economy in the Western Cape. GreenCape's vision is a thriving, prosperous Africa mobilized by the green economy. Our mission is to work at the interface between business, government, and academia in order to identify and remove barriers to economically viable green economy infrastructure solutions in developing countries, thereby catalyzing their replicable and large-scale uptake to enable each country and its citizens to prosper. GreenCape aims to be globally relevant in driving the uptake of green economy infrastructure solutions in the developing world context. We are a diverse and multidisciplinary team. In our 10 years of operating, GreenCape has created jobs, grown our membership to over 2,000 members, and helped drive over 41 billion rand investment into the Western Cape. We are the first African cluster member of the International Clean Tech Network.
The current linear economy and consumption method is that of a linear approach, where we extract resources from the earth, manufacture them into products, use the products, and finally dispose of them. This method of consumption has created a toxic cocktail of negative consequences, ranging from social inequality to depletion of natural resources, environmental pollution, and worsening of the risks and effects of climate change. This begs the question of why did we have a linear economy? Well, this came about because value is created by producing and selling as many products as possible. It assumes production and resources are unlimited. It dates back to the Industrial Revolution and gained more prominence post-World War II with the rise of consumerism. Mass production led to oversupply, and that in turn led to planned obsolescence. So what caused the failure of the linear economy? Well, firstly, both resources and disposal sites are finite and scarce. 2 unsustainable processes, namely resource scarcity and excessive pollution load, result in ecosystem degradation, wealth concentrations, and social inequalities. What are the impacts of over-extraction? Not only have we eroded the soil due to deforestation in the last 50 years, we have succeeded in reducing the fish in the sea. Our biodiversity, our access to clean water, both surface and underground, our fossil fuels reserves, what are the impacts of continuous disposal? It's the pollution of the air, the soil, groundwater, and other water bodies. Risks of fires and explosion due to methane generation, bad odors, or damage to vegetation and loss of biodiversity. Not only are we running out of resources, but we are running out of space to store the resources once they are no longer in use. By 2050, plastic in the oceans will outweigh fish, predicts a report from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation in partnership with the World Economic Forum. The report projects the oceans will contain at least 937 million tons of plastic and 895 million tons of fish by 2050. The consequences of the linear approach resulted in the current development patterns vastly exceeding the carrying capacity of the Earth. Since the 1970s, humanity has been in ecological overshoot, with annual demand on resources exceeding what the Earth can regenerate at least each year. Today, humanity uses the equivalent of 1.5 of the planet's biocapacity annually. This means it now takes the Earth 1 year and 6 months to regenerate what we use in a year. Interlinked to the ecological footprint is the concept of sustainable consumption and production. This focuses on using resources and energy more efficiently while reducing greenhouse gas emissions and other environmental impacts. It is about producing and using products and services in a way that completely eliminates environmental impact, such as zero waste or zero emissions, or that at least less harmful to the environment and perhaps even has a positive impact. The UN Environment Programme has defined the green economy as one that results in improved human well-being and social equity, while significantly reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities. It is low carbon, resource efficient, and socially inclusive. The Green Economy Coalition, which is a group of NGOs, trade union groups, defines the green economy as a resilient economy that provides a better quality of life for all within the ecological limits of the planet. There is no single agreed upon definition. The most important point is that we have a common objective: genuine prosperity, broadly shared within ecological limits. The circular economy has developed out of the green economy paradigm, and they share several concepts. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation defines the circular economy as an economy that is restorative and regenerative by design and aims to gradually decouple growth from the consumption of finite resources. According to RAP, it is based on 3 principles. It defines the circular economy as an economy that keeps resources in use for as long as possible. It extracts the maximum value from them whilst in use, and it then recovers and regenerates products and materials at the end of its service life. A circular economy is defined as a continuous positive development cycle that preserves and enhances natural capital, optimizes resource yields, and minimizes system risks by managing finite stocks and renewable flows. The circular economy aims to maximize the life of raw materials, keeping it within use as long as possible by rethinking and optimizing the design, production, and distribution of products. A circular economy reveals and designs out the negative impacts of economic activity that cause damage to human health and natural systems. This includes the release of greenhouse gases and hazardous substances, the pollution of air, land, and water, as well as structural waste such as traffic congestion. A circular economy favors activities that preserve value in the form of energy, labor, and materials. This means designing for durability, reuse, remanufacturing, and recycling to keep products, components, and materials circulating in the economy. A circular economy avoids the use of non-renewable resources and preserves or enhances renewable ones, for instance by returning valuable nutrients to the soil to support regeneration or using renewable energy as opposed to relying on fossil fuels. Circular economy cannot be traced back to a single date or person as it has deep-rooted origins. Since the late 1970s, new momentum gained as led by a small number of academics, thought leaders, and businesses. Walter Stahl in 1982 had the product life factor, which looked at extending the working life of products, reuse existing goods, prevent waste, selling services rather than products. And then if we get back to 2013, towards the Circular Economy Report, which was commissioned by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, they considered economic and business opportunity for the transition to restorative circular model. The European model looked at circular economy as a means of securing products for the future. African circular economy would need to be distinct from the European model, as these are natural resource hubs. The circular economy requires us to rethink our traditional approach and adopts a system where we 1. Design out waste and pollution, 2. Keep products and materials in use, 3. Regenerate our natural system. We need to rethink how we design, manufacture and sell our products. Some aspects to consider include standardized components, design to last products, design for easy end-of-life sorting, separation or reuse of products and materials, design for manufacturing criteria to take into account possible useful applications of byproducts and wastes. We need to develop skills to facilitate the final return of materials to the soil or back into the industrial production system. This includes the delivery chain logistics, sorting, warehousing, power generation, and even molecular biology and polymer chemistry. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation has tried to capture the essence of the circular economy in the diagram above, which is somewhat understandably nicknamed the butterfly diagram. The diagram tries to capture the flow of materials, nutrients, components, and products while adding an element of financial value. The innermost loop of the technical cycle shows the strategy of keeping products and materials in use by prolonging their lifespan through designing for durability, maintenance, and repair. On the biological side, biological materials are represented in green cycles on the left side of the diagram. Those materials that can safely re-enter the natural world once they've gone through one or more use cycles where they will biodegrade over time, returning the embedded nutrients to the environment. Technical materials, on the other hand, are represented in blue on the right-hand side. They cannot re-enter the environment. These materials, such as metals, plastics, and synthetic chemicals, must continuously cycle through the system so that their value can be captured and recaptured. Other areas to consider would be access versus ownership. Do we consume products or use them? One particular subtlety of the diagram is the distinction between consumers and users. In a circular economy, biological materials are the only ones that can be thought of as consumable, while technical materials are used. It makes no sense to say that we consume our washing machines and cars in the same way that we consume food. This is a subtle but important distinction in how we view our relationship to materials. This therefore raises questions about the necessity of owning products in the way that we traditionally do. What benefit is there in owning a drill when you just want to put holes in your wall to hang a picture? It is access to the service of a product that is important rather than the product itself. There is no simple fix to the transition from a linear system to a circular system. We need to re-look at the entire system. Business models, product and service design, legislation, accounting principles, urban planning, farming practices, materials extraction, manufacturing, and more. Yet, we cannot change just one element of the existing system and expect the change we need. We need to work on all aspects to properly transition towards a circular economy. The shift to a circular economy requires innovative business models that either replace existing ones or seize new opportunities. The business models will need to cater for all sizes of organizations at various ends of the world and at varying economic levels. Therefore, there is no single set of business models that can be applied. Accenture has identified 5 business models, and these are circular supplies, which uses renewable energy, bio-based or fully recyclable input material to replace single life cycle inputs into production processes. There's also resource recovery, which recovers useful resources or energy from disposed products or byproducts. Another component is product life extension, which aims to extend the life cycle of a product and components by repairing, reselling, and upgrading products. Oftentimes, it is a labor-intensive activity. Sharing platforms enables increased utilization rate of products by making them available to be shared or owned. And then one can look at product as a service, which allows product access whilst retaining ownership to optimize circular resource productivity, thus allowing corporates to develop new sales models, strengthen customer relationships, and recover end-of-use assets. South Africa's commitment to sustainable development aims to balance the broader economic and social challenges while protecting environmental resources. 5 case studies are presented based on Accenture's circular economy business models, and each case study showcases a different economic sector to further demonstrate the commercialization opportunities provided by the circular economy. 3 successful regional industrial symbiosis programs, namely the Western Cape Industrial Symbiosis Program, known as WISP, the KwaZulu-Natal Industrial Symbiosis Program, known as KISP, and the Gauteng Industrial Symbiosis Program, also known as GISP, are based on the circular supplies model. The program was supported by international synergies, who have facilitated similar programs all around the world. WISP, GISP, and KISP connect companies so that they can identify and realize the business opportunities enabled by utilizing unused or residual resources, materials, energy, water, assets, logistics, and expertise, enhancing business profitability and sustainability. These programs also address challenges around the continued viability of businesses, and as the rising cost of energy and other inputs impede economic growth and job creation. By government subsidizing this innovation, SMMEs and large companies alike are enabled to adopt innovative resource-efficient practices. Over the last 5 years, the Western Cape Industrial Symbiosis Program, WISP, has diverted 104,900 tons of waste diverted from landfill, has saved 309,200 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions. That's the equivalent to the annual electricity usage of 83,340 households in South Africa. AgriProtein was launched in 2008 and was one of the first companies to start fly farming at any scale. They set up the world's first industrial scale facility in Cape Town in 2010, with a capacity to divert 100 tons of waste organics from landfill per day. The company uses the nutrient recycling capacity of the black soldier fly to convert organic waste into a high-quality animal feed, which can be used as a cost-effective alternative to fish meal, a widely used component in animal feed. It demonstrates an innovative circular economy business model that reuses waste, creates jobs, and contributes to the economy. The Clothing Bank is a very successful initiative that extends product life by upskilling unemployed individuals to start small informal retail yarding businesses. They have strategically partnered with South Africa's major retail brands to donate all their excess merchandise. This case study demonstrates how a product can have increased value, increased lifespan, and creates jobs within the informal economy. The solution allows retailers to divert their waste away from landfill, in turn saving costs and decreasing the environmental footprint. The individuals in the program are empowered and are able to contribute towards the formal economy. Uber Technologies is a peer-to-peer ride-sharing taxicab, food delivery, and transportation network company. The service operates in 633 cities globally, including South Africa. The platform can be accessed via the Uber website and mobile app, which makes it accessible to everyone with availability. It allows for safe access to move around cities. It has created job opportunities to individuals within the lower income bracket. Westbank, the vehicle finance provider of Rand Merchant Bank, has launched a lease option, seeing potential to profit from Uber. ACA Threads is a sewing thread manufacturer and supplier in South Africa. They introduced the service model of collecting and recycling the plastic thread spools from their customers. The empty spools are sent to various organizations employing handicapped people to clean, thus creating job opportunities. Spools are reused by ACA. Threads and broken spools are sent back to the supplier to be reground and mixed to make new spools. ACA Threads saved more than 460,000 Rand by recovering and reusing units. The company is more competitive as a result of savings, which benefits the company and their customers. The buyback option regenerates additional revenue of 41,500 Rand annually for their clients and reduced their waste disposal costs. Profit opportunities include businesses could lower costs due to remanufacturing and create new profit streams through lease models. This reduced volatility and greater supply security. By using less virgin material and more recycled inputs, this will reduce exposure to volatile raw material prices. Protection against supply chain disruptions due to natural disasters and geopolitical imbalances. New demand for business services, collection and reverse logistics that support end-of-use products being reintroduced into the system. Product remarketers and sales platforms to facilitate longer use or higher utilization of products. Parts and component remanufacturing. Improved customer interaction and loyalty. New ways of creatively engaging customers. Example through rentals, leases, longer-term relationships. The opportunity to gain unique insights into usage patterns. For widespread reuse of materials and higher resource productivity to become commonplace, market mechanisms will need to play a dominant role, supported by policymakers, educational institutions, and popular opinion leaders. Some of the policies that facilitate the circular economy in South Africa are the following: the Department of Science and Innovation's Decadal Plan, the National Waste Roadmap, the National Waste Management Strategy, the Western Cape Government, and City of Cape Town bylaws. South Africa generated 106.7 million tonnes of waste in 2017. 21% of the waste is recycled or reused. The Department of Science and Technology estimates that if we can reduce industrial waste to landfill by 20% and domestic waste by 60%, we can unlock the value of 17.4 billion Rand per annum, which we could really need to understand the dynamics of the waste system. Generally, the common assumption is that value can be extracted by recycling the wasted product. However, to extract that value, the waste needs to be collected from the consumers, transported to the sorting facilities, and finally sent to the recyclers where it is washed and processed back into raw material to make new products. These steps are only possible if the inherent value of the product is more than all the reverse logistics combined plus the processing cost. This is where the circular economy merges with the management of waste products. If we keep material streams as long as possible in a reusable format, it prevents us from having to spend all the additional costs of reprocessing the material. Other than not losing the 17 billion rands worth of embedded value within the waste products and preventing the environmental repercussions of waste disposal, why else should we care about waste management? We are running out of space and landfills. Why landfill was generally preferred versus other technologies is that they are usually artificially cheaper. Of the 107.6 million tonnes of waste produced annually as reported previously, 640,000 tonnes consist of commercial and industrial waste, and the cost of disposing of this waste stream is continuously becoming more expensive every year. Landfilling in the City of Cape Town metropolitan area is expected to increase by 11.5% and 13.5% over the next 2 years. This increase is expected to be higher than inflation. In addition, the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries aims to implement mechanisms to fast-track landfill diversion. This includes plans for the implementation of a landfill tax, which will increase overall disposal costs across the country. Landfill bans are also high on the agenda. Since 2013, the following are some of the landfill bans implemented or in the process of implementation. 1. Hazardous waste electric and electronic equipment. 2. Waste tires. 3. Liquid waste. 4. Hazardous waste with various calorific values. 5. Brine or waste with high salt content. 6. Garden waste. And 7. In addition, the Western Cape government has introduced a 50% diversion of organic waste by 2022 and 100% diversion from landfill by 2027. The following are just some key recent policy regulations enacted to support the circular economy. The National Waste Management Strategy from the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries has recently updated the National Waste Management Strategy 2020 and has the concept of the circular economy at its center, for the same reasons as previously highlighted. The current strategy updated the previous 8 goals with the associated targets and has set 3 strategic goals which are aligned to the objectives of the National Environmental Management Waste Act, known as NEMWA. These 3 implementation themes include waste minimization, which is the prevention and treating waste as a resource. Effective and sustainable waste services, which leads to improved waste collection and clean cities with integrated waste management plans. Awareness and compliance, resulting in a reduction in littering, illegal dumping through behavior change. Regulations regarding extended producer responsibility were also brought to the fore. And the purpose of these regulations are as follows. It's firstly to provide a framework for the development, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of EPR schemes by producers in terms of Section 18 of NEMWA. Secondly, to ensure the effective and efficient management of the identified end-of-life products. Thirdly, to encourage and enable the implementation of circular economy initiatives. And then these EPR regulations are applicable to the following sectors. 1. The electrical and electronic equipment sector. 2. The lighting sector. 3. The paper, packaging and some single-use products. Waste collection responsibility, according to the Constitution of South Africa, lies with companies if it comes to commercial and industrial waste. In this module, we look at the practical implementation of circular economy principles. The first example is the South African Plastics Pact. The second example, industrial symbiosis. And finally, how can you take this forward? To create the plastic systems that work, we need to fundamentally rethink the way we produce, use and reuse plastics. The South African Plastics Pact has set 4 targets for 2025, and these are: reduce waste by eliminating unnecessary and problematic plastic packaging, redesign through 100% of plastic packaging to be reusable, recyclable or compostable. And that would also mean increasing the collection of waste products by 70% of plastic packaging being effectively recycled, which will increase collection of waste products. And then fourthly, stimulate the demand for recyclate by aiming for 30% average recycled content across all plastic packaging. That in turn will stimulate the demand for recyclate. One company's waste is another's treasure, and extracting value from underutilized resources is really what industrial symbiosis is all about. How do you plan to incorporate the circular economy principles of maintenance, refurbishment, remanufacture, etc., into how you design and procure products for your businesses? What is the most important principle of circular economy that you would like to focus on? There are a range of concepts related to the green economy that are fairly similar and is being used in various contexts. The main driver behind the development of these concepts has been a move towards a more integrated and holistic approach to incorporating environment and development in economic decision-making, policy and planning. This brings us to an end for the specialist module on circular economy and waste. There are of course much more that can be said, but we hope and trust that the key principles have been explained and understood and can easily be implemented.
Thank you for spending time with us. We hope that you found this module informative. You can access our learning series library online at www.greencape.co.za.